Welcome my constant reader friends. I'm Tad and this is Tad Reads Books and Stuff. Alright, let's do a quick reading update. As I mentioned in my last video, I did finish The GreatWhen by Alan Moore. This will be the book we're talking about today. I did finish The Christmas Pig by J.K. Rowling. I will be doing a video next for this. And I started short fiction. It's called Small Magic. It's short fiction from 1977 to 2020. And it's Terry Brooks short fiction. Most of the stories are Shannara stories. There are some Kingdom for Sale Sold stories in here. And there are a couple other ones. He talks about each one a little bit before you read the story, and he mentioned several times that he doesn't like writing short fiction. He doesn't particularly like writing short stories, so he doesn't do it often, but this is a compilation of all of his short fiction from 1977 to 2020, and we will be talking about that. Probably the last book that I finish this year. All right, let's talk about The GreatWhen by Alan Moore. We'll go through the numbers real quick. This is actually a long London novel. Apparently, this is the beginning of a series of novels that he's going to be writing, apparently about another London. Not the one that we physically inhabit, but another one under the surface or in another realm or something like that. And that's what this is about. So this was published originally October of 2024, so not too long ago, pretty recently. And it has 315 pages. Again, on Goodreads it says there's 365 or something. I don't even know where they get that at all. There's 315. It's the first. I don't know. Anyways, I mention that almost every time I see how many pages are listed in Goodreads. It's not even close to what is actually in the book. So I don't know what they're counting. If they're counting all the, like this cover page here, I don't know. I did try one time to add them all up and they still didn't come close, but I don't know where they get their numbers. Anyways. On Goodreads, it currently has a 3.69, which is a pretty decent rating. I gave it a 3. For me, it's an enjoyable book. A 3 is an enjoyable book. Nothing special, and definitely which would be a 4, or definitely nothing great, which would be a 5. 2 is below average, and a 1, I rarely do a 1, but when I do, that's a book you don't want to read at all. So anyway, so what is this book? Well, the main character, the main protagonist of the story is Dennis Knuckleyard. Now, he's an 18-year-old boy who works and lives in a used bookstore. The proprietor of the bookstore, and also his consequently landlady, she lives there too, is an older lady who goes by the name of Coffin Ada. So Dennis and Coffin live in this bookstore, and Coffin is a trip. She's very strict. She's got some weird stories about her past life. Another weird thing happens, I'm not going to give it away, with Dennis and her. But basically she's his boss and his landlord. So one day, she sends him out on an errand, and he's supposed to go to this guy's house in London and purchase some books. Now, she gives him a decent amount of money, and she says, hey, if you can talk him down, whatever you get, extra from him is yours. So that's great. It's like 15 pounds or something. But the thing is, this is taking place in the 30s, right after the war. And so London has been bombed and is not in great shape. A lot of poor people, a lot of still, no, dirt, and it hasn't been cleaned up. There's a lot of rubble and stuff from the pounding they took from the Blitzkrieg from the Germans. So this is the time period we're in. He goes, he meets with this gentleman. He's very secretive, and he basically purchases this box of books. But when he's looking through he's got a list of the books that this gentleman was selling to Coffinata. He goes through the list. There's an extra book, and he's like, "Oh, what is this book?" And this doesn't belong here. And the guy just gets really flustered, and he says, "Oh," and he goes, "Well, this isn't what you agreed upon." He goes, "Fine. Just give me 5. Instead of 15. What am I trying to say? Instead of 15 pounds, just give me 5 pounds." Well, back then, a 10-pound, that would be 10 pounds to him. And that's crazy. But he just takes the 5 pounds and he shoves the book in his hands. He wants to get rid of this box of books. But maybe he just wants to get rid of that one book. So, Dennis, has some trials and tribulations going there and coming back, but he gets back and he shows everything to Coffin Ada, and he shows her the book, and she gets wide-eyed. She's like, "Oh, no. We have to get rid of this book." That's why he got rid of that book, this gentleman. "You can't have that book." "What do you mean?" That book doesn't exist. That book is from the other London. So Coffinata knows about the other London, this other world, this wherever it is, other realm of London. And she says, "You have to take that book back. You have to bring it back to the other London, or you're probably going to die a horrible death." And he knows of a story of another guy dying of a weird, horrible death that nobody knew why. He's associating with that, of course. So now he's on this journey to get rid of this book or bring it back to this other London. And that's basically where we are with what the book is about. His trials and tribulations of somehow finding this other London, getting it back to this book, back to the other London, surviving it all. Along the way, he meets some strange characters. In this book, you're going to see a lot of the occult. You're going to see the surreal, the abstract. You're going to see magic, magicians, gangsters, streetwalkers. There's a giant. There's a man made of wood. There's artists and actors and writers and everything in this book. And it's not that big of a book, but there's everything you can think of. Alan Moore's throwing in there. And there is a story in there. There's a bit of a kind of a love story with Dennis and a streetwalker, and some artists. It's Alan Moore. So, what do I think about the book? Like I said, I gave it three stars. It's all right, but here's the thing. If you are not a fan of Alan Moore, if you don't know who Alan Moore is, of course, those of you that do know him mostly from his comic book writing. I believe he's the greatest comic book writer of all time, hands down. Now, when he writes a comic book, he's very descriptive. Whoever the artist is he's working with, he gives them reams and reams of paper to help them with their art and what everything looks like. And he gives tons of information. Unfortunately, he kind of does the same thing when he writes prose, when he writes a novel. And that can turn some people off. Why do I say that? Again, if you know Alan Moore, if you're a fanboy of Alan Moore like I am, you're going to want to read this book and you're going to enjoy it. However, If you aren't, I'm going to be very kind, and I'm going to be very polite, and I'm going to tell you, please do not waste your money buying this book. Please do not waste your time reading this book. You are not going to like it. First off, Alan Moore is very pretentious. That's how he is. That's how he is with everybody. That's how he is in all his writing and his communications, his videos. I've seen some videos of him. He does say he's an occult wizard. He has studied the occult and the Golden Dawn and things like that. He studied under some famous people. And his writing is very pretentious too, just like he is. If you've ever read any of his problems with these comic books that were made into movies, and he hates all of the movies that were made from his comic books and has nothing to do with them. Watchmen, he has nothing to do with Watchmen anymore, and things like that. That's Alan Moore. This book is that too. It's him. It's very pretentious. You won't like it. There are pages and pages of just surreal descriptions of this other London that have nothing really to do. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. He doesn't have to describe every single butterfly that looks like dripping, glass or something. I mean, very Dali-esque. If you like Dali and his paintings, then you'll like the descriptions of this other world by Alan Moore. But it goes on for paragraphs and paragraphs and paragraphs. The book doesn't have a lot of actual story in it. It's more description. But if you like Alan Moore and you're into any of the occult stuff, it's kind of cool because reading in between the lines, there's a lot of occult history and information in this book that's hidden between the lines. He talks about Aleister Crowley and Dion Fortune and different people like that. If you're into that, you'll like that in this book too. But yeah, if you aren't a fanboy, you are not going to like this book. Do not read it. I'm sorry, Alan. I enjoyed it. I like it for what it is. I like his pretension. I like the way he acts. He's not indiscriminate. He just is an a-hole to everybody, and that's how he is. He keeps it real, so I like it. But anyways, yeah, pretty much that's the book. I'm not going to give a lot of it away. If you've read Neverwhere by Neil Gaiman or some of these other writers, Unlondon, things like that, there's a lot actually of stories about a different London or an underground London that we don't know about, or a third world London, things like that. That's what this is. One of the weird things too that I noticed about this book, on the back, I don't understand when they have these people doing these write-ups promoting the book on the back. For instance, Entertainment Weekly wrote, "I'm not sure there's a God, but I thank her for Alan Moore." Okay, I don't know what that has to do with writing something about the book. Here's another one from The Guardian. "One of the most significant fiction writers of English, ... Moore's influence can be felt everywhere, in our literature, on our screens, in our politics." Yeah, okay, but it has nothing to do with this book. Here's another one, Publishers Weekly. "The world building is extraordinary, and the plot is utterly gripping. Readers are sure to be sucked in." Okay, that one, I'll give them that one. That's decent. 2 lines, real quick. Not bad. Might entice you to read this book. Here's another one here from the Book Eaters. I don't know what that is. Author of the Book Eaters, Sunny Dean. "A profound, gorgeous novel of secret magics and lost souls." There are no lost souls in this book. No, I guess kind of some secret magic because of the other world. Again, has nothing to do with the book. This is the worst one. Bear with me, I'm sorry. Like Dickens. No, Alan Moore is not like Dickens at all. Ever. Never, ever. Like Dickens, Alan Moore has us waiting on the dock. Okay? Impatient for the next installment of this breathless, time-traveling classic. A preternaturally convincing hallucination from London's fetid past transports us in some mysterious way over the abyss of our impoverished post-digital present. Savage, human, comic, terrifying, and that's just the first page. This person is pretentious. Ian Sinclair, author of The Last London, True Fictions from an Unreal City. Must be similar stories, but this guy's pretentious as hell. I don't understand what the hell that has anything to do with the book. There's no docs on here. There's no, what is this post-digital present, savage, humane, comic, terrifying. And that's just the first page. The first page is an old man talking to a young girl that's making him tea. I don't know. Anyways, I just hate that crap. Also, this cover, the cover of this book has nothing whatsoever resembles anything in this book. I don't know who this Pupler's Knopf. I don't know where they got these blurbs. I don't know where they got this art. It doesn't help the book out. Ugh, pisses me off. I'm sorry. Has nothing to do with the book. All right, that's it. If you like Alan Moore, read it. If you don't, skip it. All right, my honest opinion. If you found any entertaining value in my videos, please like, subscribe, send me comments, all that good stuff. And as always, until next time, peace out.